Thanks for listening to the Homeboy Hangout. A little hanging out with a few, not really homeboys, but homeboys extend from your actual homeboys and extends out to, other male figures, out in the world. And I had an opportunity to sit down and visit the University of North Carolina at Chapel Hill, where I had an opportunity to sit down with Tony Dungee and Mack and hear them speak. When I go to events or functions like this, I listen from a few different standpoints. The first standpoint I listen from is the student standpoint, because you're never too old to learn something from somebody, especially people that have been where you're trying to go and have done what you're trying to do. The second standpoint I listen from is the player or former player of football, because that's what they were speaking on, football and the ability to be good and coaching kids and different things. So I think as the former player that I used to be, what their speeches are relating to what I went through as a player or I didn't go through as a player. The third aspect I listen to is the coach that I am now, to see if what they're telling me applies to how I treat my players or how I'm not treating my players or kids. And the fourth aspect I listen to is for the coach that I want to be. So I always listen as a student first, because I want to learn. They've been there, they've done things that I haven't done yet that I aspire to do. So I listen as a student. I also listen as a student so I can get the education that I need or that I don't have. Now, some of it you might have already, but it's never a bad thing to get that reinforced. Never a bad thing to hear it again. So I get that education that I need so I can take it back into not only apply to my team, but apply to people that I surround myself with, because they bring back good things too. So always surround yourself with like-minded individuals so you can be able to sit at the table and build each other up and make each other better. Now, like-minded individuals doesn't mean you won't challenge them or they won't challenge you, because that's healthy too. You need challenges. Second portion I'll speak on as a former football player. I analyze what they are saying to me, because I'm now analyzing what the other coaches in my life taught me. So I listen and I compare how adequate were my coaches at the time that I received the coaching, or if they weren't as adequate as I felt like they need to be compared to. And I know I'm holding them to some big shoes in Mack, who's been all over the world coaching, like Tar Heels and Texas Longhorns, and Tony Dungee, who's a former NFL player, Hall of Famer, NFL coach, won Super Bowls. So I listen for the big things that they're going to teach me. But as a student, a former player, a coach now, a coach in the future, it is amazing how these guys always go back to the attention to detail, the small things. Being good at the small things is what makes you good in life at certain things. A good friend of mine always tells me that people have a champagne taste with a Diet Dr. Pepper budget. And for a while I didn't understand that, but I do now, because in life you have to work for your dreams, not dream for your work. People want to be great at things, but they don't want to put in the work to be great at things. They just want that greatness to happen, overnight without the work. Well, nothing happens without the work. Nothing happens before the work, unless you just get lucky, hit the lottery. But even then, you made the money to buy the dollar to play the lottery. So that doesn't even happen without the work either. It's just a different work that was applied, and you got a little bit lucky too. So be thankful for that. If that happened to you, I wish it happened to me, but it ain't. But listening to Mack, listening to Tony Dungee, it came right back to what my grandmother used to tell me. And she didn't have a lot of rules, as I wasn't really a bad kid or unruly kid, because I never wanted to disappoint. her or my mother, the people that raised me. She said, treat people like you want to be treated and be a good boy. Those were our only 2 rules. And I tried to follow them to a T my entire life. Because if you be good to people, people are definitely going to be good to you. So if you treat, and I'll take this back to, football. If you treat your players like you want to be treated, they will give you the output that you want. But this speech is this talk this morning really ain't about football, or it's more about life and doing the things necessary, to be where you want to be in life. You got to put down the work. You just got to do it. If you're asking people for help in your circle, outside your circle, and they won't help you, you got to remember, it's not their journey. You have to put down the work. No matter how hard that work might be, if you want what you're going after, you have to put down that work. Hopefully the people in your circle will support you, but even if they don't support you, you still have to put down the work, because these are your dreams, this is your journey. So you can't point the finger at nobody else. You can't blame nobody else. You got to get out here and do it. Own your mistakes if you make them. Turn them mistakes into something better. Try to learn from others to alleviate those mistakes, but mistakes are going to happen. That's called experience. If you don't have the mistakes, you won't have the experience to be better in life. So always put in the work. Find out what work is necessary. Everybody's not going to support, everybody's not going to downplay you. But you got to surround yourself with the people that's going to help you to get to where you need to be. Also this weekend I had an opportunity to create some brotherhood, with some other brothers that I surround myself with. And sometimes you have to have conflict before you have success. You have to have conflict before you have success, because everybody has a mind frame that they think on. Everybody wants to be great in a certain way. But when everybody's working together for one common goal, sometimes you have to compromise your way of thinking to achieve the goal at hand. Because the goal ain't about you as an individual. It ain't about them as individuals. But it's about all of you leading that team or leading that organization to where it needs to be. So you have to compromise sometimes your avenue of thinking, your avenue of looking, to create the overall success a little bit better. So let's move on to treating people like you want to be treated. It might not return right away, but you always treat people good, that treat you good, or distance yourselves from them. I was looking for an RV in a certain area a couple of weeks back. I was like, man, I guess I'm just going to have to rent one. But I put out a filler on social media, and I was going to rent whoever says that they have one, or anybody was renting one. I can rent and take it to a certain area that doesn't really have a lot of hotels and whatnot. And I put out a filler. And one of my high school mates, every time we're together, we're not together all the time, but every time we're together, he says, yo, what's up? We have a great time together. We treat each other like we want to be treated. It's like we never left high school. We right back in together, but in our lives that we have now. And he reached out to me, and I'm thankful for him. And he said, hey, man, I got an RV. When you need it, what you need it for, don't worry about it. We'll do this. Boom, it's there. Don't worry about the money. It's taken care of. I appreciate people like that, but it goes back to where, how my grandmother raised me, and I'm sure there's people raised him the same way. You be good to people. People be good to you when you least expect it. Now, success in your mind is measured by what you want or what you've done. So sometimes you can be too hard on yourself and feel like you're not successful. And other people in other avenues are looking at you as a successful person. Just because you haven't gotten everything that you want in life does not mean you haven't been successful. Look back at your pattern on life, look back at the things that you have accomplished, and compare them to the people that haven't accomplished these things. and then decide if you've been successful at something or not. Now, if it's not what you want, you still have to keep pushing, but that does not mean you haven't been successful. You work hard for things. You might not get the exact thing that you wanted, but you got something close to what you wanted. That is a success. I used to tell some kids that I mentor, you want to set your goals in life so high that when you fail, you still succeed. I'm shooting for a 4.0 in school, but if I achieve a 3.8, I'm still successful. You want to buy the fanciest car in the world, and you work hard, and you try to get the money to do that, and you can't buy the Bugatti, but you bought a Maserati. You are still successful. You get in that car, you go to work every day. You own a 6-bedroom house, but you got to settle for a 4-bedroom house, and there's only 3 people living in it. That's still successful. You own $20,000 in your bank account, and you finish with $15,000. You're still successful. Keep working for the rest of it. You'll get there. Keep working for it. And that's what I have to remind myself sometimes, man, because I don't like to be in the box. And what I mean by in the box is I have a issue with doing the same things over and over and over and over again and achieving mediocre success. The definition of insanity is doing the same things over and over again, expecting different outcomes. I can't. If I got a job making $20, I want to make 21. Like I just said, sometimes my curse is measuring my success based off of what I really want in life. And sometimes I'm hard on, well, I ain't gonna say sometimes, I'm all the time harder on myself. And I have to be careful not to be as hard on other people because they'll disengage. Because everybody's not built to be that way. People just want to go through their everyday life and do how they do, and you gotta respect that. Even though I don't understand how they do it, I'm not built that way. I look at the top, and I'm always trying to work to get to the top. I start a podcast, and in my mind, I'm mad as hell because I can't figure out right now all the components to the podcast. And I probably should compare myself a little bit differently to people that are beginning podcasts and what they're doing and whatnot. Nah, I jump right to the top. I compare myself to Shannon Sharp, Chad Ochocinco, because I see what they got, I see what they do, and I understand that, but I don't understand the other parts of it. Like Chad and Shannon, they look like me, they talk like me, they act like me. Listen to some of the things and stories that they say, they think like me. However, they got a little cake that I don't have to build their platforms and do how they do, So I'm still trying to figure out the audio visual parts of this thing. And once I figure it out, because I'm going to figure it out, once I figure it out, everybody better look out. Because all the people who doubted me, all the people who wouldn't show up, all the people who canceled when they were invited to sit down to a podcast, I'm going to invite you again, but I'm going to remind you of the time when I asked you and you didn't come. See, everybody's going to want to come and be on the team when you're successful, but nobody really wants to help you on the way up. And that's the same with football. I was a part of a staff that went 1-9. Nobody wanted to help coach. People told us we were crazy for going and being a part of that organization. However, we still went. And now that we are becoming more and more successful, there are other people that want to jump on the team that would not jump on the team to help when we were 1-9. Do you respect those people or do you not? I got respect for everybody, man. Everybody ain't ready for everything. Some people are just opportunists. They sit back and they watch. Like they got faith in you. They know what you're getting ready to do when you go to these places. But they ain't got the will or the heart to step in at the same time that you step in and try to make this thing better. They want to sit back till you make it better. Then they want to jump on board and say that they were the ones that made it better, when in all actuality, they sat back and watched until you got it to a platform of success. But hey, you need those people in life too. But you just got to know what they're worth, how they're going to help you, and what you need from them. So think about all those things, man. I love this homeboy hangout, this brotherhood talk. I'm going to figure this whole thing out in a little bit. No matter who's in the corner, who's not in the corner, no matter who wants to help, who doesn't want to help. Y'all believe me this. I'm going to figure it out. I'm going to stick to the small things until I can make the small things big things. And I'm going to succeed at it. So as much as this is a conversation about what I experienced this weekend, this is a conversation in which I'm actually talking to myself and talking to the podcast at the same time. So you got to get in where you fit in, because at the end of the day, I'm going to win no matter what. Remember that. If you don't remember anything else about me, I'm going to win no matter what. Peace.